Welcome back, everyone, to episode 8 of CO Sports Talk. We are back with another banger. And today we will be recapping the first weekend of March Madness. It's back, and we've had a lot of crazy upsets. So we will be recapping the whole round of 64 and the first half of the round of 32, which was played today, Sunday, March 21st. And we also talking a little about NFL free agency. So let's dive right into it.
Let's do it. Today was awesome. This weekend was awesome. Love March Madness. Best time of the year. No question. And
Agreed.
let's get into the bracket and show what's gone on so far. Yeah. So as you can see here, we got the top left. And yeah, so the top left, the second round does not happen. That will happen tomorrow. But the West region here, the first round happened. So we'll start with Gonzaga. They beat Norfolk State pretty handily. As you can see, 98-55. Corey Kispert was awesome. Jalen Suggs was awesome. We don't have to talk about this game too much, but I mean, pretty solid showing from the Zags.
Yeah, I mean, they almost dropped 100 in a college game. That's pretty rare. Beating any team by 43 points is kind of ridiculous, even if it is a 16 seed. So yeah, Gonzaga absolutely no issue handling Norfolk State, and we'll see what they can do against Oklahoma, who won their first game versus Missouri. It came down to the last minute, but Oklahoma took care of them. So
Yeah,
that was a good game as well.
love this game. Austin Reeves of the Sooners dropped 23, and then
Yeah.
the Sooners with Manic and then Harmon. Pretty solid team, but we'll see tomorrow at 2:40 if the Sooners can take care of the Zags. Probably not, but we'll see.
Yeah, who knows? We already
And
saw another 8-1 upset today.
yeah,
We'll
exactly.
talk about later.
And Illinois was the number two favorite. And then we got Creighton UCSB, and this was a heartbreaker for the Gauchos. I mean, they were up on this game in the first half, then they kind of fell behind, but then they came back and they were up and they missed the free throws and it had a hook that was a very easy shot
Yeah.
and to win the game, and it was a makeable shot.
Yeah, definitely makeable shot, kind of point blank range. Should have hit it, should have put the Gauchos ahead, but Creighton hangs on. Um, Kind of a scary game there for them, but they move on to face the number 13 seed Ohio, led by Jason Preston, who, as me and Casey predicted, upset Virginia, who we thought was kind of a weak 4 seed. Even with their experience with Kihei Clark and head coach Tony Bennett. So yeah, Ohio does well. I'm happy
Yeah.
for them.
Best
So
part about this game was Preston didn't even have his best game, only had 11 points. So if
yeah,
Preston can ball out next game, I mean, they will be Creighton. And I mean, last week we re-recorded our show. We both made some tweaks to our brackets. I switched it to Ohio. I still had UCSB, and I was very close to correct Ohio UCSB. But I mean, I think we're done with brackets at this point. I'm just rooting for the upsets because my bracket was busted right away.
yeah, my bracket's at like 30%. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everyone is kind of in the same boat. No perfect brackets left in the world, as we know. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
USC and Drake, Evan Mobley's Trojans beat Drake, who won their playing game versus Wichita State, and they won 72-56. And the Conference of Champions is undefeated. What a showing from the Pac-12.
Yeah, Pac-12's been outstanding. Like USC, I thought they would lose first round for some reason. I just sensed the upset, but they took care of Drake, 72-56, as you see. This region was kind of chalk. Um,
It was,
for
yeah.
those who don't know, means the higher seed wins, but
It was Ohio.
except for Ohio. But yeah, it was chalk besides that.
And that's rare because the other regions were not. But
Yeah,
so Joseph Yusufu of Drake, he played really well, but wasn't enough.
yeah. I'm a big fan of Joseph Yusofu. He had a big poster against Wichita State, so he can do big things. So I'm excited for the future of that Drake team. Maybe can make some noise in tournaments coming up.
Great season for the Drake, but for Drake, yeah. And now we got Kansas and Eastern Washington, and Eastern Washington was winning this whole game, but Kansas pulled away and it ended up winning it. But Tanner Groves of Eastern Washington had 35 points, very impressive. Looked like a lumberjack out there playing, but
Yeah,
sadly, Kansas pulled away at the end.
yeah. The Groves brothers were really good. They're funny looking, but they pulled it out. Yeah, Tanner Groves out there looking like Jackie Moon, but he can play. The man can ball. And Eastern Washington put up a great fight versus this Kansas team, and it scared me for a bit. I thought it was gonna be another crazy upset, but Kansas hung on to it, regained the lead back in the second half, and did not forfeit the lead again. So
Yeah.
Kansas advances to play USC tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be a great game too. I have USC winning that. Hopefully they can do that for the Conference of Champions too. And I mean, I texted all over this week saying Kansas, if there's any 14 seed that has a chance, it's gonna be Eastern Washington. And they
Yeah,
were not the Abilene Christian was actually the 14 seed that had a chance, but Eastern Washington was good, played very well. So, but KU did advance. And
yeah.
moving on now to one of the games of the tournament, Oregon and VCU.
A crazy defensive battle ended at a 1-0 score.
Yeah, Oregon. Shame for VCU and their seniors that they did not get to play this game. For those that do not know, this was the one game out of all 32 games that did not happen. VCU had COVID, 3 positive tests, so Oregon just got to advance. And I mean, I think something fishy was going on because they're in a bubble. They're getting tested every day. They were negative, so someone had to leave the hotel. I mean, or something random happened. How would they get COVID? But it is a shame for VCU.
Yeah, it really sucks for VCU. I feel really bad for the players, especially the seniors who, haven't been in the tournament for a while. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how they really escaped the hotel. They do have tracking devices on the players. They must have just, thrown it off and escaped. But I don't understand why they would jeopardize their season like that. So I just don't know what happened. But it really sucks for VCU, but good for Oregon, another member of the Pac-12 who gets a free win. And they will
Oregon
face,
was fun, I think. But, I mean, maybe.
yeah, but they'll move on to face the 2 seed Iowa Hawkeyes, led by Luca Garza, of course.
Yeah.
Who they took care of Grand Canyon. It was a blowout most of the game, but Grand Canyon kind of made a late surge and it ended only as a 12-point game, but it was
Yeah.
definitely a bigger blowout than
Yeah.
86-74.
Yeah, the Hawkeyes were definitely in control here, but great game from Garza, one of the best college players of all time, enjoying his last
Easily.
couple of games in college. 24 points from him, very handily, 6 rebounds, and then Bohannon had 13. So pretty solid game for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah,
All right.
so that's our recap of the West region. So we'll see what happens out of this and who will make the Final Four.
All right. So moving on to the bottom right, as they say, or I believe it's the East. Could be wrong
Mid
there.
Midwest.
Midwest. Yeah, I don't know the regions. It's bottom right. But
Hmm.
um crazy upset today. We'll kind of start and we'll move on since this is 2 rounds, but Illinois beat Drexel on Friday. I mean, shiver me timbers, it's Drexel. They got the dub. But and we'll do the 2 games in the 32. And then Loyola Chicago beat Jose Alvarado's Georgia Tech. And I mean, this had to do with Georgia Tech. The best player was not playing. But it was a great win from Cameron Krutwig.
Yeah, Loyola Chicago looked great. Great ball movement. They just have a lot of energy. Cameron Krutwig's the leader of that squad, but it's a very there's not really a star of that team. Like Cameron Krutwig's the best player, but they kind of share the wealth. They don't have one player that averages 27 while the rest average 10. They kind of they share the points, and yeah, it's just a very good basketball team. I can see potentially to the Final Four. I
Right.
mean, they
Yeah,
just beat this
they have an
the
easy route.
yeah, they just beat the said second best team in the tournament um by 13 points. So, I mean, Loyola Chicago could go far. And
Yeah.
and as you said to me today earlier, we need to start putting them in the conversation of, one of the best basketball programs in the country because they keep proving us wrong. So yeah, Loyola Chicago just insane, making Sister Jean proud, which is awesome.
Yeah, so as Oliver said, I mean, the Ramblers won today, 71-58 this morning, and they are contenders this year. I mean, as you can see throughout the play, the Beavers of Oregon State, who are balling out right now. I mean, Thompson of Ethan, very good player. We'll get to that. But so and then they have an easy route to the Final Four, like they were 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And I mean, we could easily see them versus Gonzaga in the finals, and wouldn't that be amazing? To
Yeah,
cap.
that'd be so sick. And I think if they beat Oregon State, I don't think they're gonna have a problem reaching the Final Four. I mean, Syracuse has looked great. Buddy Bayham has looked absolutely insane, but Houston has not impressed me. They barely snuck by Rutgers. If Rutgers didn't choke and turn the ball over in the last minute, they would have lost to Rutgers. So I really like Loyola Chicago's chances of making it to the Final Four this year again.
Yeah. So Oregon State, they beat Tennessee on Friday. We both had football games during this, but I got to catch the end of this. And the Oregon State looks great. And then Oklahoma State under Cade Cunningham barely snuck by Liberty. And then they met today, and the Beavers won it, and they looked awesome.
Yeah, the Beavers are looking crazy. They're on this crazy win streak. They won the Pac-12 tournament. They were
Yeah.
projected to finish last in preseason standings, and they're just proving everyone wrong, looking like the best Pac-12 team right now in this tournament, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Oregon State, they're always kind of just like not very good at any sport, but their
Yeah.
college basketball team right now is looking insane. They just beat Cade Cunningham and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. So yeah, or don't count Oregon State out versus Loyola Chicago as good as they've looked.
Yeah, absolutely. Ethan Thompson, as I mentioned, 26 points. Great game from him. And this Oregon State team is just, this is what seniors dream of. Like, Ethan Thompson is a senior, and they were not going to make March Madness, and they dreamed of a run. They ran it, and they won the Pac 12, and now they're making a run in March Madness. I mean, it truly is amazing. What a great way for him to go out and end his college career.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him and this Beavers team.
Moving on to the Syracuse Orange, crushing San Diego State. Made me look stupid. I really should have picked San Diego State. I mean, sorry, no, should not have picked San Diego State. Should have picked Syracuse in this game.
Same here.
Yeah, and Buddy Boeheim looked awesome.
Yeah, the dude's shooting the lights out. He's the average, unathletic white guy, but he can shoot the damn ball. I mean,
Yeah,
you always think like the coach's sons aren't gonna be that good. They only made the team because their dad's the coach, but he's the star of the Syracuse team, and he can shoot the ball. He can score all three levels. He's a very impressive player. And yeah, they took care of San Diego State easily, who I picked and Casey picked. I don't know why. Because when Syracuse seems to be like an 11 or 12 seed, they seem to just do great things.
yeah, exactly. They made the Final Four in 2016 as a 10 seed. I mean, they made a run. I could maybe even see it again. Their path is pretty easy. I could see them meeting Loyola Chicago or Oregon State in the Elite Eight. I mean, I
Yeah,
coming out of that.
yeah,
But
they're
yeah,
lucky the best team in this region's already out. So it
yeah,
definitely makes the path a little easier. They beat West Virginia, who I thought was a
yeah,
a, a lock for an Elite Eight team, potentially a Final Four team, and they proved me wrong. So
yeah, man.
Syracuse looks good.
This West Virginia team, they gave Bob Huggins his 900th win, beating Morehead State by a very large margin. But then they lost today against Syracuse. And I mean, Huggins just stuck at 900, it looks like. Tough for this Mountaineers team, but I mean, Syracuse deserved it.
Yeah, I mean Syracuse just simply outplayed them. The West Virginia Mountaineers had a chance to tie it with the last few seconds left, but Miles McBride traveled, and they never got the ball back. But
Yeah.
yeah, Syracuse closed out this game as well as they should. They could have, and with a veteran coach like Jim Boeheim, one of the best coaches we've ever seen, that is a given. So Syracuse, with their experience and their coaching, they can definitely go far. And then let's move on to the last game, which is Rutgers Houston. I mean, we saw Rutgers challenge this Houston team, and Houston looked very vulnerable. They looked very beatable in this game. I personally thought Rutgers had a very good chance, and I thought they were going to win this game, but Houston uh, took advantage of Rutgers choking down in the last minute and eventually pulled out the win.
Yeah, I love this Syracuse team over Houston in a Sweet 16 next Saturday.
Me too.
Easily. This Houston team does not look good. I mean, they beat a god awful Cleveland State team that barely got in the tournament. They got lucky going to like triple overtime, so that wasn't impressive. And they barely won today. Rutgers deserved it, to be honest. And Rutgers, yeah, Rutgers had a great tournament, winning their first. They had a big drought winning into March Madness.
Yeah.
Same with Oregon State, Power Five schools hadn't won since like the 70s, and now the only team that has never won is it's a Power Five school is Nebraska in a March Madness. But
Well,
maybe they'll win soon.
yeah. I mean, but you got to give props to Houston too. Quentin Grimes, DeJon Jarreau, they all played really well, and
Yeah.
they got the win. Except I think they look very beatable right now. So I don't know. I don't think they go any farther than than the Sweet 16.
So there you have it. Loyola Chicago versus Oregon State on Saturday and Syracuse versus Houston.
On to the East region, also known as the bottom left. A lot of crazy upsets here. Especially Abilene Christian beating 3 seed Texas, who Casey had in his Final Four. How does that feel, Casey?
I sacrificed it. I love upsets. That's why I love March Madness. It's one of the greatest tournaments on earth. So, I sacrificed my pick, my bracket, sacrificed my bracket in order to see a great upset.
Yeah, fair enough. I think we're all kind of root for upsets when our bracket is busted, might as well. So yeah, we saw 3 upsets in this region. Georgetown came out looking like regular season Georgetown. just not good. They let Colorado put up 96 points. Colorado looked fantastic. Michigan handled Texas Southern. LSU handled St. Bonaventure pretty easily. Um,
Yeah,
Florida State, they kind of,
they look
kind of
pretty strong.
struggled a little, but they got the win by 10. Abilene Christian, like we mentioned. UCLA still riding that hot hand. They look great. Tiger Campbell, excuse me. Jaime Jaquez, they look great. Beating the BYU Cougars. Shout out Tommy Butler. I know you're sad right now. And
Yeah.
then Maryland beat UConn. I picked Maryland originally, and I switched it to UConn last minute. I regret that. And then Alabama. I didn't see any of this game personally because of football, but yeah, they beat Iona, Rick Pitino's Iona. So yeah, what do you think about this region?
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely one of my favorite regions just because it was so wide open. I actually went perfect here, not to brag, besides the Texas Abilene Christian game. Very
Okay.
proud of myself picking Maryland. Everyone was hyping up themselves about, UConn. UConn, they're 7 seed. Remember last time they were 7 seed? Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? I mean, Maryland is better. Happy for Scott Van Pelt and his Maryland Terrapins. But big win for them. But ultimately, UCLA and Colorado are my big people to watch out for. Colorado, I knew they were going to win because they are the best free throw percentage team in the country. Shout out Will Maxwell. He told me this the other day. He said always pick the team that has a higher free throw percentage because they are going to be clutch at the end of the game, and that is correct. Colorado beats Georgetown and they beat them handily, and I like them against FSU.
Yeah, I do too, honestly. I have FSU in my Final Four, but after seeing Colorado versus Georgetown, I like Colorado as well. And then this Michigan LSU game, a lot of people are picking LSU, but I still think Michigan has it, even
Yeah,
without Isaiah Livers. UCLA, Abilene Christian's gonna be a movie because I mean, just look at that. Um, so yeah, I think UCLA is gonna win, just because of their experience and everything. But Abilene Christians is a very solid basketball team, so I can see that going either way. And then Maryland, Alabama, I think Alabama should have that pretty easily. They're just a lot better, well-rounded team than Maryland.
yeah, I cannot wait to watch some of these matchups tomorrow. Michigan LSU, as you mentioned, is probably my favorite matchup besides Colorado FSU, just because I mean LSU is a lot of people have them beating Michigan because Livers is out, so that will be a great matchup. And then UCLA ACU, I love UCLA as much as ACU is Magic, but who knows? Because I mean we'll talk about it later. But Oral Roberts they won today, so yeah.
Yeah. So it sucks having games on Monday because we got school, but still
Yeah,
excited to watch whatever of these games that I can, during lunch breaks.
honestly, don't sleep on Alabama. I mean, they're a 2 seed. A lot of people have them coming out of it, and they looked great versus Iona. I mean, only winning by 13, but they were in control that whole game. But
Yeah, one of the best defensive teams in the country. They shoot
and
the ball really well too.
yeah, great coach
Um,
for Nate Oates. Yeah,
yeah, people counting them out just I guess just because they're Alabama and they're not historically a good basketball program, but this Alabama team is really good, and I can see them making the Final Four just because of how wide open this region is, and it doesn't really have a clear cut favorite.
yeah.
So
Last but not least, finishing it out with the top right, aka the South. Did not see that it said that right there. Didn't know that said earlier, but now I do. And we'll start it off with Baylor, Wisconsin. They played today. Baylor to get there, they balled out versus Hartford. We're in control the whole time. And shockingly, Wisconsin beat North Carolina to surprise
yeah,
all of us. I mean, I totally thought North Carolina would win this.
yeah, but by 23 too. I definitely thought North Carolina was gonna win this. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the country, and they're a very hot team. And we weren't very high on Wisconsin, but they still pulled out the win and pretty easily.
Easily.
So yeah, and then Villanova beat Winthrop, which kind of pained me because I really thought Winthrop was gonna go far, 23-1. I had them going to the Sweet 16, and instead of them, it's Villanova, who
Yeah.
I wasn't very impressed on. And then the North Texas Mean Green beats the Boilermakers and then falls very short to Villanova. So
Absolutely. I mean, I was so shocked about that Winthrop game because although it said 10-point game, Villanova actually controlled them by more. Villanova played extremely well. And I mean, I was fully expecting Winthrop to be in closer contention that game. I mean, it was a great day. March Madness is on. We beat Menlo Atherton in football for the first time in 8 years. I wanted to come home, make it a 10 out of 10 day with a Winthrop win, and Winthrop pained me and lost. And made it a 9 out of 0.9 out of 10 day. So
yeah,
way to go.
I would. This is probably like my worst region bracket wise.
Yeah.
I only got two games out of this one. I got the Arkansas game and I got the Baylor game. That's it.
Yeah, I got Florida, but I actually like this region because of that. It's so wide open, and North Texas had a great win versus Purdue, and they were actually winning in the first half, and Villanova completely came out of nowhere and balled out today.
Yeah, Villanova just started shutting down North Texas offense, high octane, mean green offense where they can shoot the lights out. But yeah, North Texas still, in our opinion, probably got the cleanest jerseys in the whole nation. I mean that shade of green is just beautiful.
As you see,
Um,
as you see the photo right there on your guys' screen, I mean that is a beautiful green that North Texas has. So absolutely,
yeah, definitely. And then Texas Tech, Utah State. Me and Casey picked the Aggies in this game. Not sure why we did that.
yeah.
Looking back at it, that was also stupid. We kind of messed up a lot on the 6-11 matchups, but Mac McClung and Texas Tech uh, beat Utah State and then fall to 3 seed Arkansas, led by Moses Moody and company. And
No,
then what's that?
and that was a great game. Arkansas, Texas Tech today. Two like Big 12 SEC battle. I mean, it went to the end there. Mac McClung had a pretty solid game. Moses Moody down in the middle, and Arkansas ended up winning it.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. And then the first game of the whole tournament, which was Florida Virginia Tech, busted my bracket right away, which is kind of the worst feeling because you have no chance after that. Casey was pretty hyped about his pick there, but Trey Mann was clutch. It went to overtime. Virginia Tech hit a clutch shot, which was insane. I was like, oh yeah, March is back.
Great one to kick off the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, literally great way to kick off the tournament. We didn't know what madness was ensuing after that, and it's been crazy. But yeah, that was a good game. And then the upset of the tournament so far, which has been Oral Roberts, the Golden Eagles beating the Ohio State Buckeyes 75-72, a 15-2 seed upset. And
And
then furthermore, Oral Roberts beats number 7 seed Florida to move to the Sweet 16. And yeah, we're just super impressed by this Oral Roberts team led by Max Abmas and that whole
Tampon
squad.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a great duo. They were amazing today. Honestly, they really impressed me. And what shocks me the most is how they got fourth in their regular season in their Summit League. Do not understand that because they look like a very impressive team, beating Florida. And I mean, they're gonna have a nice game, I think, versus Arkansas. Will not be close. Kevin O'Banner is his name,
Yeah, Kevin
and
O'Banner and Max Abmas, they both are insane. Great, duo they have there in Oral Roberts. So, they could be Arkansas. I don't personally see it happen, but I got to stop doubting Oral Roberts because I didn't think they would beat Florida either. So, well, I did think they would beat Florida, but no one thought they were going to beat Ohio State, let's be honest. So,
roll the clip a week ago.
made that decision for me.
Yeah. And we're not picking Oral Roberts, but I mean, if you're going to go for a 15-2, I think they're the best 15 seed here, representing from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And don't count out the North Texas Mean Green. We will see. All right, so let's move on. I said if any 15 seed has a chance, it will be Oral Roberts. And did not say they would win, but I knew this team was very strong just because Ohio State has had a couple loopholes, and they definitely found them in Oral Roberts with a great win on Friday.
Yeah, you did indeed say that that was probably the most likely 15 to upset to happen, and you were right. It did happen. I was hyped in class when it happened. I was kind of couldn't really contain my excitement for Oral Roberts, but good for them. They finished fourth in the conference and then won their conference tournament to make March Madness as a 15 seed, sorry, and they're making the most of it. So yeah,
Absolutely, and we cannot wait for the Sweet 16. It's been an amazing March Madness. We missed it two years since the last one, and this one has definitely lived up to that.
most definitely. So let's move on to NFL free agency. Okay, we will now be moving on to NFL free agency. Just me and Casey will be giving our best signings so far, our worst signings so far, and maybe our most surprising signings so far. So let's get right into it. Casey, what is your best free agent signing so far, in your opinion?
I love the Dolphins picking up Will Fuller from the Houston Texans. I mean, first of all, great job by Will Fuller to get out of Houston. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not exactly the best situation right now in Houston. Deshaun Watson going through some trouble and
Oh yeah.
with everything really, and who knows what his future is. And I mean, Houston's just kind of a dysfunctional team right now. So, and it was a great pickup by the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they needed weapons. Devontae Parker is really their only weapon. So it was great for him. And Tua's gonna love having Will Fuller.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome signing for the Dolphins. They needed wide receiver help, and they got wide receiver help with one of the best deep threat receivers in the league. Very speedy guy like Will Fuller. And on
Yeah,
my side, my best free agent signing was Joe Tooney. He got paid a lot. He went to the Kansas City Chiefs, but what they needed most was line, and they got one of the best guards in the league in Joe Tooney. You know, Patriot, former Patriot, was franchise tagged last year by New England. This year, he didn't get the franchise tag, and he went elsewhere. And yeah, I think this is much needed for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think this will help their interior offensive line and offensive line as a whole.
I don't
Moving
see.
forward.
The only thing I disagree with you on this is I don't think Joe Tooney deserves this. It's awesome for him, most definitely, but is this worth it for the Chiefs? I mean, he's kind of a washed up guard, getting up there in age. He's 30 years old. I mean, I don't know. Oh, sorry, 29 to be specific, but he's almost 30 years old. Getting paid $80 million till he's 34. I don't know if this is worth it for the
Man,
Chiefs.
he's still an elite player in my eyes. He's been great for the Patriots for years. So yeah, I personally think it's a great move for the Chiefs, but we will see. We will see. And then what do you have for your worst signing so far?
I gotta go with the Tennessee Titans picking up Bud Dupree. I mean, Bud Dupree, let's not he was amazing last year at the start of the year, but he had a bad injury and missed the rest of the season, and that changes players. He's 28 years old, he's getting up there, and they really signed him for 5 years and used almost all their cap space, spending $82 million. I mean, I just disagree with this because Bud Dupree, I mean, in 5 years, he will not be the same player, and I don't care if he didn't have the injury or not. Coming off an injury, at 33 years old, he won't be the same, especially as a linebacker. It's not like he's a quarterback or even a lineman. So I don't like the signing by Tennessee.
Yeah, I think it could go either way. It could be a great signing or it could be a mediocre to bad signing, like you say. But yeah, we will see how that pans out. And for my worst, I have your San Francisco 49ers sending Trent Williams. And before people disagree with me, I don't think Trent Williams is a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's easily the second best left tackle in the entire National Football League, behind the only David Bakhtiari. But I have questions about the amount of money they spent on him and the amount of years they gave him. You know,
Yeah,
he's really getting up there in age, and they signed him for I think 5 years. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but
6. But yeah,
6 years, even worse. So I just don't know what kind of player he will be. He'll probably be like 40 by then, to be honest. And so this might not be good for the 49ers spending a lot of money on someone who's getting up to their age, even though he's still a very good player. It could be like a Marshall Yonda situation where he's still really good at an old age, but we will see. You never know, especially with tackles and injury problems. So
yeah,
yeah.
I completely agree with you with that. And I'm a diehard Niners fan. I mean, Trent Williams, 33 years old right now.
Yeah.
33. So you're telling me we're gonna have him being paid $23 million a year when he is 39 years old, almost
Yeah.
40. I mean, not even Joe Staley made it that long. So
Yeah.
it's odd. He very petty to try to get paid more than David Bakhtiari. Funny story there, but I mean, I think he'll be great for the next 3 years, and I would not be shocked if we cut him after 2, just because that's how we can get rid of him and save a lot of cap space. But who knows? Definitely one of the greatest left tackles in the game right now. So I'm happy to still have him as a Niner. But long term, I don't like how much we're paying.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's great, great deal short term, but not so great long term. And then for the most surprising pick, could be destination, could be money, but who do you got?
I got this as most surprising pick, not from the team, but as the player's perspective. I got Kenny Galladay signing with the New York Giants. I think this is an atrocious move by Kenny Galladay. I mean, why would you go from one medium quarterback to a terrible quarterback? As a wide receiver, I mean, why would you want to do this? You're a wide receiver wanting to want to win a chip. You want to make the playoffs. You want to have a good QB that you can be the best duo in the league with. And Kenny Galladay chooses to go to Daniel Jones, who is a worse quarterback than Matthew Stafford was, and maybe worse than Jared Goff. And he's signing for 4 years. He is getting the bag. So shout out to Kenny for that, $18 million a year. but it's not like the Giants were the only team that was going to pay him.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the bag. Money was the deciding factor. It seems to be here. That, I mean, who would really want to voluntarily play with Daniel Jones as good as he may be in the future? But yeah, it doesn't really make sense right now. So that was also a surprise on his time with the Giants. I thought he would go to a team with a proven quarterback that
Yeah.
could get him the ball. And for me, I have another wide receiver from Detroit, his former teammate Marvin Jones Jr., who signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this may not seem that surprising, but I just again from kind of a mediocre franchise to another mediocre franchise.
Mm, got
But
though.
T Law coming in is probably the biggest factor for Marvin Jones Jr., even though he's kind of on the tail end of his
And
career.
Urban Meyer, yeah.
Yeah, and Urban Meyer. So I guess not that surprising, but probably the most surprising out of all of them. Just it was kind of random, I guess. I didn't really think he
Imagine how
was.
pissed Marvin Jones will be if the Jaguars somehow trade or don't take Trevor Lawrence. Oh my gosh, because that's
Yeah,
the
just like why did I come here? I gotta play for Jake Luton, but because we all know where we were for the Jake Luton game, and so yeah, so that's that. So yeah, that's what we have for our little free agency recap, a little free agency game there.
thank you all for watching. It was a little bit of a longer episode today.
Yeah,
We had to recap all of March Madness. And we recapped some free agency for you guys. But tell us in the comments below what you like the best, so we know. Because we're for the people. We'll do whatever you guys like. But
yeah,
anyways, we will see you next time. And the boys had a little bit of a weekend this week, football wise, in our own games. As you see the clips here, Oliver had a touchdown. I played defense. Didn't have any too much highlights there, but maybe we'll see something. And we will see you guys next week. And now we will know who's in the Elite Eight then.
yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you next week. Peace.